Tonight, I'm going to talk about something I hope that you'll find very interesting. It's about some ideas that really changed the course of my business and let us really excel in a really fast way.
Welcome back to Ashes to Assets. This is Lessons in the Lounge.
Hi, everyone. This is Vince. Welcome to Ashes to Assets, Lessons in the Lounge, and welcome to my man cave and lounge. Tonight, I'm going to talk about something I hope that you'll find very interesting. It's about some ideas that really changed the course of my business and let us really excel in a really fast way. Have you ever been in a situation where, you have competitors are around you, and you're trying to think of a way, how could you be more competitive than them? How could you do something that makes you stand out and be unique? How could you develop something that is a business development tool that will just skyrocket your firm and make you a success? Now, of course, as I've said before, success doesn't happen overnight. It is a long-term game. But I'm going to talk about an idea that really changed things for our company. 35 years ago, I changed careers. I decided that I would go from a high-tech career, doing actually quite well, and I decided to become a financial advisor. At that particular time, mutual funds were very popular, and I started selling mutual funds. I started selling retirement products, investment certificates, that sort of thing. And one of the things that I realized that I wanted to do was I wanted to target the people that had the most in savings and the most in investable assets. And those people were, and probably still are today, senior citizens. Now, in Canada, we have a particular rule when it comes to your retirement savings. If you have retirement savings plans, which many people do, by the time you turn 71 and by the end of the year in which you turn 71, you have to do something with that registered retirement savings plan. And you have actually three options. Number one, you can convert it to cash, which is an absolute worst idea possible because 100% of it becomes taxable income overnight. Two, you can convert it into what's called a retirement income fund, where now it will generate income for you each and every year for a number of years. Or you can convert it into a life annuity. Those are really the three options. So I decided that was the road that I wanted to go down, and I wanted to get into retirement income funds and life annuities, and I wanted to approach seniors. Well, at that time, and you may even remember this depending on your age, the way that most of my competitors marketed their services to hopefully sell and recommend a retirement income fund or a life annuity was they would hold public and free seminars. So they had ads in the newspapers. Back then, there were newspapers. And they would advertise to the general public, hey, if you're turning 71 this year, come to this seminar. It's free. And we're going to teach you all about your retirement income options at no charge whatsoever. So you go to one of these seminars, you sit down, and you know what? They were pulling in some decent crowds. And so you would get up on the podium, you would have some PowerPoint overheads, and you would tell these people, here's how $100,000, as an example, how it would look if you went into a retirement income fund or if you went into a life annuity. And they would show you those examples in person and in this seminar. Of course, the main intention of the seminar for the people that were organizing the seminar, the financial advisors, was that they hoped that they could convince you to engage their services so that they could then recommend and sell you one of these retirement income packages. And quite frankly, there were several of them that did very well. So I thought, hey, you know what? If this is working for my competitors, I'm going to give it a try. And so I began advertising in newspapers. And believe me, at that time, when I was starting off, I did not have a lot of money for advertising. So we're talking about very small ads. And I did everything I possibly could to promote these seminars. And so I did a couple of these. And the funny thing happened was that there was really only a few people that would show up. And these people had been to the other seminars and had said, well, you know what? John Smith over there said that, they could offer us 10% interest, or they could do this, they could do that. And I thought to myself, what a waste of time and what a waste of money. And so I thought to myself, you know what? I got to do something. I got to change, but I just didn't know what. One night on the way up to bed, and I'm telling you the God's honest truth, this idea hits me. And the idea is very, very simple. Seniors have to leave their house. They have to, I'm making a mess here. They have to leave their house. They have to go to one of these presentations. What if I took the seminar and put it on one of these, which is a cassette audio tape? It's been a long time since these have been in use, but at one time, these were actually very popular, and every car would have had a cassette audio tape, and many houses had a cassette audio tape. So I thought, you know what? Let's give it a try. Excuse me. I put together a script, which was about 22 minutes long. I also was referencing 6 different slides, which I printed and photocopied, and I ran little ads in the newspaper. And basically the ads were very, very simple. A picture of a cassette audio tape saying free cassette audio tape, learn your retirement income options in the comfort of your own home. Call and get a free cassette audio tape. The day after the ad would run, my phone would be ringing off the hook. And all I would do is this, very, very simple. I would take down their name, their address, and of course their phone number. And then I would go off and I would prepare a cassette audio tape and get ready to mail it with the information. Now, back then, as I told you, my budget was very, very small for advertising and very, very small for this type of thing. But back then, I could create my own cassette audio tapes, copying them on a dual cassette recorder in my living room. My poor wife, who's a saint, had to stay there and just watch me record cassettes after cassettes after cassettes. The entire package to mail out, including postage, including cassette, was $2.75. I would send these off, and then I would wait about 2 weeks, and I would follow up with those people. And I would say, hi, it's Vince here calling. A couple of weeks ago, you requested a cassette audio tape. My first question would be, did you get it? And sometimes they would stumble and say, yes, yeah, we did get it. My next question would be, so while I have you on the phone, do you have any questions? You know what? I would say probably 5 out of 10 would say, I don't have any questions right now, but thank you very much. It was really helpful information. And I would then ask, do you mind if I put you on a newsletter just so that I can keep you up to date on any developments with retirement income funds? And they would say, sure, absolutely. So they went onto my newsletter list. However, there'd be a few of those people that would say, you know what, I do have a question. And by the way, when you talked about X, Y, and Z, what did you mean by that? And once the questions began, that was where the opportunity was. From there, I would begin asking some very direct questions. For example, can you tell me when is some of this money coming due? Because what I could do is I could shop the market 45 days in advance, 60 days in advance, and I can get you the best rates, and I can lock in those rates 45 or 60 days in advance. And I would just continue doing that with the questions that I was being asked. Well, every time I sent out one of these cassette audio tapes, I would know that usually 2 to 3, maybe sometimes 4, would result in some business. This little thing grew my business to such a large degree, it's incredible. I continued doing this, and I eventually sent out, I lost count, but I would say between 4,000 to 5,000 of these cassette audio tapes to various people. And this little guy just grew my business in such an amazing way. So let's talk about what can you come up with? You know what? How can you look at what you're doing right now and say, how can I be unique? How could I be a little different? How can I stand out from the crowd and get those phone calls or get those emails or get those texts or whatever? How can I stand out and be different? You know what? If you really begin to think about it, and sometimes the thinking could take you days, could take you weeks, or who knows what, but there's so many different ideas on how you can be unique. If I can, let me point out one example. And I talked about this in another podcast. Whenever there is a federal budget that is introduced, doesn't matter where, doesn't matter what country, there are thousands of financial advisors, accountants, economists, you name it, that stay up late into the night to analyze that new budget so that what they could do is first thing in the morning, they could have a report that's ready to be emailed or basically put into an e-newsletter and sent out to prospects or clients of the firm. Nice idea, nice value add, but talk about boring. I know myself, and perhaps you may have witnessed this yourself. I probably get about a half a dozen of these every time there's a federal budget. Now, what if you said to yourself, okay, everyone else is doing this. How can I be a little different? Well, you can put yourself in front of a camera for one thing, just like I'm doing here today. Why not do that federal budget overview on film, maybe whatever, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, whatever it is, put it onto your YouTube channel so that now you can send out a link to your clients, to your prospects, that they could watch. There's a connection now. They see your face. They can connect with you. And people would rather watch a video than read a boring e-newsletter or report. Who's doing that right now? Very few people. But I think that is such a unique way to differentiate yourself. Stand out from the crowd. Now, here's the other thing. Just think about it for a second. In that email where you say, by the way, Mr. Jones, thank you for being a client. Thank you for whatever. Please click on the link for our analysis on the federal budget or whatever it is. P.S. Feel free to circulate this to any family or friends that you might have in mind. Imagine that. Now, Mr. Jones has become a prospect hunter for you, that he's liked what you've done or she's liked what you've done. And to send this off to my son, you know what, my son really needs to see this, or my sister or whatever, to send this off and forward a link. I think you all know how simple it is to do that by email or to do it by text. And of course, what you want to do in your video is make sure you have your name, have your contact information, and you might be completely surprised. So when something so simple as a cassette audio tape can change your business for the better, perhaps a video, perhaps a podcast, something like that could make you stand out from the crowd. And you know what? This does not take a lot of effort. You can get yourself set up with a home media system for less than $1,000, probably less than even $500. Why not try it? Don't be shy. It might work. What am I smoking tonight? I'm smoking an amazing cigar. This is a Davidoff Grand Cru number 3. It's made in the Dominican Republic. It has a Ecuadorian and Connecticut wrapper, Dominican tobaccos, but in particular, it has this tobacco called Polito tobacco, which was started off as a Cuban tobacco, but was smuggled out of Cuba in 1962, and now is being grown in the Dominican. And the Polito tobacco is part of the filler tobacco in this cigar. This cigar is about 5 inches, a gauge of 43. It has an amazing flavor. You know, the review says, there's tobacco, there's vanilla, it's creamy. It is definitely creamy. I know when I smoke a cigar, I either really like it. If I don't, I usually put it out very, very quickly. But this is one of my favorite cigars. It's a mild to medium cigar. Lots of smoke for such a thin gauge, a 43 gauge cigar. It's great. It's great. This could be an afternoon smoke. There's a lot of people that like to have a sort of a mild to medium smoke, maybe morning or afternoon, or it could just be an anytime smoke. They're not cheap. It's a premium cigar, Davidoff Grand Cru #3. So I hope you enjoyed this video. On the next videos, I'm going to talk about another idea that even catapulted our company even higher. It was another idea where it just was something that made us unique. It made us loved by our customers, hated by our competitors. And I'll make sure that I talk about that the next time. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe. Make sure that you get notified for the next podcasts. And until next time, have a smoke, enjoy, and think long term. Thank you for being here.